Hi there, and welcome to the second Education Hour hosted by Survey Analytics. This one's called The Value of Panel for More Accurate Customer Insights. And since it's about 10:02 a.m., we're going to go ahead and get started with our agenda today. So what we're going to do here is talk briefly about what the Education Hour is, the value of implementing a panel solution, what not to do, and how panel can influence a strategy, and open it up to Q&A to the audience. My name is Esther LaVielle, and I am the Vice President of Client Services, and I'm here to show you how the panel can really change your strategic moves throughout your deployment process. So exactly what is the Education Hour? This is basically a 1-hour monthly education session brought to all of our clients. It's based on customer-driven feedback, and you have told us what you want to learn each month. So the goal for these education hours is to offer a unique training session on a variety of topics, products, and services brought to you by Survey Analytics. Other topics that are planned for 2013 include, how to turn your survey into an interactive survey, how to run mobile survey projects, how to run a market research study using multiple deployment strategies, as well as conjoint MaxDiff. So a lot of cool things are coming up, and I feel that this will be a great place for people to kind of pick up some new ideas and skills to add to your current research strategy. So before we get into the value of a panel management solution, let's go ahead and define what panel management is. Over here at Survey Analytics, our panel management tool provides services for creating your own panel portal. So it allows you to create and manage your own online or mobile community. After recruiting your panel, you can create targeted segments of your panel to send surveys and other email-based marketing materials online or via mobile. It also allows you to fully customize the look and feel of your desired online communities, and you'll also be able to manage the points and rewards participants want to earn. So that means that you can control what kind of incentives that you want to give them, whether it's going to be discounts with the products and services that you offer, or if you would like to give them an Amazon gift card, that kind of thing. We can have that set up for you, and you can choose what you would like. So what kind of companies use the panel management solution? Here you can see is a small list of our clients that currently are using our panel management. They come from research companies to gaming companies, software companies, you name it, manufacturing. There's so many different things you can do, and each client has found a really great benefit and also cost savings in terms of adding panel management solution. The value of it is quite extraordinary. And I got a great quote here from Ivana Taylor from DIY Marketers. And she says that panels are an ideal solution for companies whose customers are engaged in social media. In industries where your products are perceived as a commodity, panels are a standout way to differentiate. If you can manage an online survey or your Facebook profile, you can manage a panel. It's as easy as clicking through a few profile sections, sending an email, and that's it. So what is the value of a panel management solution for your company? Here is a value management graph in which on the left vertical axis you're looking at the business benefit, productivity, and effectiveness. Obviously, the higher the benefit, productivity, and effectiveness that you get from the company overall, the higher of the value this investment is to your company. On the horizontal axis, we're going to look at the cost benefit efficiency. You might think it's kind of odd that it says low cost on the bottom, but what that really means is that if you're looking at your overhead divided by the cost and also the revenue that you receive, that number actually can go lower. So we're looking at, is it worth, investing in, and how much bang for your buck are you truly getting? So putting these two together, what all people should aim for is to determine their optimum value and cost. And for all the value that you look at for your investments in your company, you have to look at whether or not each investment is a value add or a value loss. So you may or may not have a process that you've written down, but we've at every company we've all have used these items at one point or another. And I'm just putting this in here, looking at it specifically from a panel point of view. So every business needs a way to objectively determine the business value of any investment decision. So the first thing you would do is view and analyze all your investments, and that includes, where your headquarters are, the kind of employees you have, the kind of technology that you implement, including the panel solution, overhead costs, project costs, and also processes. You have to see whether or not you can assign any dollar values to this and how much revenue they bring to the company. Also, the second thing is you would prioritize the initiatives and allocate funding based on the value for the department or the company. So if you're a research department, the most important thing obviously is research development. If you're looking at the overall company, it could be R&D, technology, sales, and maybe the least important thing, but would be staff lunches. So when it comes to adding or subtracting a particular investment, such as a panel, you got to look at all of these items and see where this would fit and how you can prioritize this. The third thing you'd want to do is whether or not the investment that you're making into a panel is going to allow you to make better decisions sooner or add revenue to your bottom line. So in general, if you do add panel, the idea is that it will help you generate more revenue, or at least keep your revenue steady, because you are staying in touch with your customers. The fourth thing to do is to predict the impact of changes and eliminate any unneeded costs. So if you're adding on a panel management solution, how does that affect your company? Do you need to make any layoffs, or do you need to hire people that can help manage the panel? These are things that you have to consider when you are implementing a panel solution. The fifth thing to do is to increase utilization of current systems and resources. So the big question here is, what do we already have that we could use more often? So one thing that we've noticed with a lot of our clients, and they've told us, is that they know that our tool can do a lot of things. We're an enterprise solution. We can do from online to mobile, to offline surveys on tablets and even on iPhones and stuff. But they are not everyone is using that. So when you are coming up with a new strategic solution, check out the current resources that you have and make sure that you're using it, to its full benefit to your company. The sixth thing you want to do is go ahead and balance the value with any possible risks. So if you're going to take on a panel management solution, you have to consider, how long is this going to take? What's the setup? And during that time, what are you going to lose? Is it going to be worth it at the end to put the time and effort into this? So you have to consider, what the risk is and what rewards you're going to get from it. So to panel or not to panel, that is the biggest question. A lot of our clients, they're not really sure, they like the idea of the panel, but whether or not you need to implement it right now or in the future, there's a lot of things that are up in the air. So, some ideas to think about when you're considering adding on a panel to your current solution is whether or not you're a trendsetter or a follower. A good example of that is whether or not you're at like a company like Apple, which is basically a trendsetter in their industry, and they pretty much set the tone in terms of what is out there. And then we also have JCPenney, who's more like a follower. They have a particular loyal customer group, or are you a mix of both? Do you see yourself as a company that has a special niche? What can you do to, actually make your niche more popular in terms of being able to get market share. These are things that you can consider and you can learn and implement from utilizing a panel. The next thing you want to consider is, what is the value of truly staying connected with your customers in an exclusive community? So what that means is, whether or not in your industry does the voice of the customer or customer feedback really mean something to you? I mean, sure, you can always run surveys and ask for feedback, but the advantage of adding on a panel is that you can ask questions on the fly. You can stay in touch with people. You can interact with them in a way that you normally wouldn't. So what is that value to you as a company? So that's something that you would need to consider when you are considering adding on a panel solution. The third thing that's really important here as well, and that is to make sure to commit to setting up and maintaining your panel solution. Whether you are doing an online community or a mobile community, it's very important to make sure to put in muscle to hustle. That is kind of a fun thing to say, but there is a setup time. Even though you can set these panels up in our system in less than 30 minutes and actually go ahead and launch a survey after you've set up everything you want, it's still important to make sure to maintain it, keep it refreshed, or make sure to think of ways to continue to recruit people into your panel, set up incentives, and then also make sure that you maintain it so you have people that are interested, they want to be interactive with you, that kind of thing. The more that you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And I've seen with some clients and even in our own test panels that, the ones that we do spend time and really work, the panels are really great. And then there has been times where we've tried to create niche panels and we don't, necessarily maintain that. As a result, the panel dies. And so again, it is important to put muscle in the hustle. What not to do. Let's meet Ron Johnson here. He is the former Senior VP of Retail Operations at Apple, and he became the CEO at JCPenney in 2011, and now he's the ex-CEO. And the main thing that caused him to fail at JCPenney is that he failed to understand the JCPenney's core customers. Apple versus JCPenney. So you can see on the right here that there's some major difference between Apple and JCPenney. As we said earlier, Apple is a trendsetter, and they really changed the way that retail is done. And I believe that they did this not because of the fact that they were any better than the retail space, because they had a very interesting product that people wanted to know about. They were a trendsetter, so they didn't have to necessarily do the kind of research and get customer feedback prior to setting up the store like most other stores have to do. So in terms of what the store and what Ron has done there, he has some quotes here. He says, people come to the Apple store for the experience and they're willing to pay a premium for that. Inside the store there, they have demos of the hottest and newly released products. They offer a Genius Bar, which people can go in and ask questions about their computers and learn more about it, about their technology that they're interested in buying. They also have convenient accessories and software. And the pricing is staying constant. So you're not going to see a MacBook Pro or an iPad get slashed down from $500 down to $100. You're always going to see it at a constant price. If you'd like to read a little bit more about Ron Johnson's experience at the Apple, we do have a link below that you can read about what he learned about building Apple stores around the world. On the right side here, you see you got JCPenney's. And basically, the people that do go to JCPenney's, they're conservative shoppers looking for bargains and deals for clothes, kitchenware, optical, etc. One of the things that kind of made JCPenney look like kind of an old store is that they had a lot of old stores in small towns and cities, and they're in dire need of major upgrades. So as a result, JCPenney actually asked and wooed Ron Johnson from Apple to come to JCPenney to revitalize those old stores and bring new customers in. So this was the big question that Ron had posed to JCPenney. Says, how do we reinvent the store to enrich our customers' lives? So you can see that from the last screen to this, that they changed the logo and the look and feel of the storefronts. And then they also plan to renovate its retail space to include a main street of 80 to 50 branded shops, so it's stores within stores. They also revamped its pricing structure to abandon sales and coupons in favor of consistently low prices. Also during this time, JCPenney changed their name to JCP. And then they also did, within the last 3 years, 3 logo changes in 3 years. In addition to that, they also wanted to add some more hot brands geared towards more fashion-forward consumers so they can bring in some new money of those who are avid mall shoppers. And the last thing they also did change recently was the employee pay scale. So that means that there's no more commission on the floor. So taking a bite out of Apple's innovation strategy and applying it into JCPenney didn't work because, similar to Apple, Ron Johnson did not consider a staged rollout. And he also immediately rejected everything existing customers believed about the chain and made it clear with the very first TV ad campaign under his watch. One big quote he had that a lot of people kind of ran with is he said it was that testing would have been impossible because the company needed quick results. If he hadn't taken a strong stance against discounting, he would have not been able to get new stylish brands on board. So what that means that, the brands that came in didn't want to be looked at as a discounted brand. And so he had to make these promises to them that he would keep their brands constantly at a high-end price. And when it came to coupon, he made an arrogant assessment that customers needed to be educated as to how the new pricing strategy worked. And he also likened the coupons beloved by so many core customers as a drug that consumers needed to be weaned off of. So these items and also his opinions on the core customers really did not, sit well with them, and as a result, they did lose, quite a bit of traffic in their stores. Some customer feedback from JCPenney makeovers. So after the changes that were made, a survey did go out afterwards, and it asked 600 customers in late 2012. Over 67% negatively rated JCP's facelift to clothing offered and pricing changes. And here's a fun quote from a real customer who's no longer a customer, and this is from Donna Johnson, or Donna Jones actually. And she said that he's working hard to defront the store without considering that many, if not most of his customers might have shopped there precisely because they like the more conservative, frumpy look. Am I frumpy? Probably. Does that bother me? No, not at all. And so what made JCPenney's really popular, especially in smaller towns and stores, is that they did have a more conservative look, and it made people happy. They wanted to shop at a place that was more conservative and it fit with their style, and the fact that it has been changed without getting any feedback, or even managing this core customer, they felt like they were being displaced and that they no longer had a place that they can go to shop. So what is the value of the strategy that was implemented by Ron? You can see here that they had over $4.3 billion in losses in 2012. Their stock value plummeted over 60% last year, and also the board disapproved of all of the changes that were made, and it cost him over 97% of his performance-based pay, and that's a huge amount. he still ended up taking home about 1.9 million, so that's not too bad, by my terms. However, think about it. If he was successful with the strategy, how much more money he could have gotten. 97% is huge. So you can see my arrow here on my value management graph is going down. There wasn't a business benefit, the productivity and effectiveness went down, and the cost to set up this strategy, which is a very aggressive strategy, actually made the company lose a lot of money. So there was very little cost benefit. So as a result here, we can definitely say that the optimum value and costs were not achieved. So let's go back and travel back to 2011. And let's pretend that they did add on a panel management solution. Well, how is that going to change things? What I want to iterate with you guys all is that when you are using the same exact strategies, but if you consistently have customer feedback, employee feedback throughout the process, it actually can smooth out a lot of the bumps, and you can still move on and do the strategy that you're looking for, but still take into consideration your core customers' feedback as well. So what we're looking at here is just a way of implementing customer feedback into the current strategy. One thing I do want to reiterate before I go into this part is that the strategy that Ron Johnson had was actually not that bad. I actually really liked the aggressive strategy. However, the piece that he was truly missing was the voice of the customer. And so we want to show you here how valuable a panel management solution could actually have saved him, over $4.3 billion in losses, and could have changed the way, the way that the stores could have been while keeping the core customers happy and still shopping at their stores. So let's go back to the first strategy that he was looking at here. So he wanted to renovate the retail spaces to include a main street of 80 to 100 branded shops. So that is stores within stores. The very first thing that we would recommend here is to create 3 different panels. You want to profile your loyal JCP customers, uh, non-customers of JCPenney, and also a panel for store employees. Next thing you want to do here is recruit panelists through store coupons, cash in-store incentives. These are really hot items for people that are store users and also non-store users. They would be interested in coming in and taking advantage of the instant cash options that they have, and they would love to be a part of a panel in exchange for a discount. Send survey to online and mobile communities. So basically this allows you, after you've recruited people into your communities, to go ahead and send out surveys and get some feedback about the store within store concept. And also you'll be able to run some geofencing and mobile ethnography and studies to analyze real-time shopping experience. So that means with geofencing, once they walk into a JCPenney or a competitive store, you can send them a survey and ask them how their experience was, or ask them, what they're shopping for and how they can help you. And if they take the survey while they're shopping, they can get some sort of an incentive at the end. And this is a great way to interact with people in real time. The next thing you can do here also to make sure to add, make sure to add, excuse me, make sure to follow through with the strategy is to target specific segments in your panel and survey on brand new and existing brands. And also review some pictures of stores within store concepts. So what this will allow you to do is to run these ideas by your customers, your non-customers, and ask them, do they think that these concepts is a good idea, or do you think it's going to make it confusing for them to find certain items? What are the, what's the look and feel? Do they feel energized when they come in? These are things that, we want the customer to tell us what they think about even before you're even building the store. And after you got all that data from all these 4 different steps, what you can do is analyze the data received, and then you can roll out store within store tests with panelists and anyone that's in the area of these test stores, have recruit them and have them give feedback on the experience, either by having them go into the store and take a survey while they're shopping, or allow them to give you feedback directly, either with QR codes and that kind of thing. So again, adding on, just these items alone can really change the way this current strategy could have been better handled. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples of panels that you can build. Here's a loyal customer panel site. So this is for people who are avid shoppers of JCPenney. They can go ahead and log in and go ahead and be a part of the panel community. We also include a employee panel. So anyone who's an employee of JCPenney and would like to, receive discounts at the store or in cash incentives to give their feedback on the place that they work, they can go ahead and build a panel as well. And we also did a non-customer employee. We called this the mall shoppers panel. And what this will do is we'll target people that don't necessarily shop at JCPenney's, but we still want to get their feedback because we want to know what we can do to win their business and bring them in to the store. So you do want to make sure to include this profile as well. So you can see how drastically different it is from a JCPenney panel as versus a regular mall shoppers panel. Here's an example of a member portal for mall shoppers. Basically, once they log into their online community or their mobile community, they'll see that they have surveys that they can take. They can look at reports and analytics, and they can also review how many points that they have earned, as well as rewards that they can cash in. So these will be places that you can add instant cash and discounts. And if they have their phone with them, they can just show it to the cashier and get their instant cash when they walk into the store and stuff like that. And one of the things that you can do to help recruit people into these panels is you can set up coupon and discount code incentives to recruit, these shoppers, non-customers, and current employees. The first thing we would recommend doing is to offer coupons and instant cash to join the panel. So you can see above there that we have an example: join and receive coupons for an extra 20, 30%, etc. Next thing you can do is use social media, website pop-ups, and in-store marketing incentives to get people to sign up for the panel. And then also create QR codes. Oops, I didn't mean to say recipes, but QR codes on feedback cards or on receipts to solicit feedback. And then also, which an important one for the loyal customers and also non customers is to create a referral program, so you can target them for specific things in the panel. And these referral options that we have in our panel, we do offer some trackable URLs, so you can see how many people are going out and referring people to join these panels, and you can give them more of an incentive to do so. Other things you can also do to make your strategy stronger is to run a geofencing survey on loyal and mall shoppers panel. First thing you do is enable a mobile community panel, so you can see a screenshot of survey analytics, and you can just customize your mobile community and what it can do in its module. Then after that, you can go ahead and select a targeted group of stores to analyze their shopping experience. Other things you can also do with geofencing is you can turn on life metrics data collection. So if you're interested in finding out, what their battery life was when they took the survey, what apps that they were running while they were taking while they were shopping, what system that they're on, whether or not they're on an iPhone, an Android, that kind of thing. We can collect those, passive data and collect and bring that back. The last thing you can also do is you can auto send surveys based on geolocation. We kind of talked about that earlier, but what this can do is allow you to track when a person walks into a store or when they walk into a mall, and they can get some incentives to come into JCPenney's and ask them what they think about the new, Levi's boutique or something like that. So, anytime that you can get people to come into the store so they can get an incentive or a coupon, that's a really great way to do that. So geofencing surveys on the panel would be really valuable to grab some quick feedback that's very interactive, and people love interacting either on their phones or in a community. Other things you can also do is you can also target segments of participants. So here in our system, you'll be able to select a target panelist based on profiling information or past survey to analyze shopping experience in renovated stores. So if you decide that you want to target people, the ages 21 to 29 who are not JCPenney shoppers and you want to go after them, then you can go ahead and create a filter to target these people. You can also do one that are of loyal customers, of ages 40 to 56 and try to target them. So once you have set that up, you can go ahead and send a follow-up to targeted online and mobile panelists. And again, there's many different ways that you can deploy a survey to these people. You can either do it, on their mobile, you can do it online. The community is very harmonious in that way. So regardless of these targeted groups, if you want to filter them out by those who only want to do mobile surveys, then you can do that. If you want to target those who visit the website, then you may want to do an online community. Then you can filter these as needed. Let's look at the next strategy that didn't do so well and how the panel could have saved this strategy. So the second one here is to revamp its pricing structure to abandon sales and coupons in favor of consistently low prices. So before we can even roll this out, what we should have done is survey the loyal and non-customer panels and also the store employees on coupons and JCP discounts. What we want to do here is measure the satisfaction of shopping experiences with and without the coupons. And then also, after that, go ahead and introduce and test the concepts of new brand names with consistently low prices. And also make sure to identify, and keep existing store brands at discount coupon levels. So what that means is that for some of these new brands that come in, if they don't want to be looked at a discounted price, what we can do is put them into a particular boutique shop and then not apply the standard pricing and discount to those items. I think a lot of people, when they walk into these stores, they will know, like, oh, this brand, we're always going to get, Nike at this price. We're not going to get it at this discount. Or we're going to have Levi's at this price and it's not going to be at this discount. But for these other, standard JCPenney prices that a lot of the loyal customers do come back and shop for, perhaps we can keep those at the standard pricing and coupons that they really enjoy and want to use when they come into the store. The fourth strategy for this to test the pricing strategy is to open an online forum for JCPenney employee panelists to join and give feedback on new brand pricing concepts. One of the major things that came out recently actually was the fact that a lot of store employees were not happy with the way the pricing structure was changed so aggressively, and then they had to change it back. So it caused, a lot of store employees to have to go in and retag everything multiple times. So once the strategy didn't work right, then they decided to go ahead and switch it back, and then they switched it again. It caused a lot of rumbling. And instead of making that happen, let's go ahead and include the employees and ask them, what is the pricing structure do you think that would be helpful and make our customers that come to our stores happy? The last thing you would do here is analyze the data received and roll out, the store-within-store tests with panelists and, also give direct feedback on the experience. And again, that kind of goes back to the last thing, and that includes like looking at the pricing of the stores within stores, and then also looking at, what areas would that pricing structure not work. And so it's important to invite them back, ask them again, do some follow-up and see, is this strategy going to work or not? So instead of going into a re-education, we're actually taking their feedback and we're going to kind of compromise, so these new brands that we bring in are going to have the good pricing, and then the ones that are not, we can have them at the standard discount pricing that you like. So let's go ahead and look at, how to create a panel discussion in your group. This is already included with the panel. So what you do is just go to the panel tab and then click on panel discussion on the left hand side, and go ahead and set up a title, status, session type, and a time window. So you can say this will be on Monday the 30th, or May 31st, and it's going to go from May 31st to June 1st. And below here, you'll see that what the panel discussion looks like for a member. And the panel discussion can be done while they're online or on their mobile, and we would pose them questions and then they can reply back. Other people can see it. And what you can do after that is analyze the qualitative data received from the online forum and use that feedback to apply it back into your strategy. So if they say, I don't like this strategy, I think it sucks, I want my coupons back, we could have found that out sooner rather than deploying a aggressive pricing change and then having to change it back. The third strategic move that could have had the panel make a huge influence on was the change of JCPenney to JCP and logo changes. So the very first thing that you can do with a panel is you can survey the loyal and non-customer panels on the name change. Do they still recognize JCPenney as JCP or JCP as JCPenney, or do they think it gets lost because the acronym doesn't make sense to them? These are things that you can think about. The second thing you can also do is you can also run an online forum similar to what we just saw, or online discussion, to both loyal and non-customers on the JCP acronym. What does that, what do you think of when you see JCP? Do you think of, Justin Timberlake or James Van Der Beek instead of JCPenney? Who knows? Next thing after that is you can go ahead and target panelists to review logo changes and gather feedback before deploying a new logo. So what that means is that you can go ahead and test a multitude of logos and see which one resonates the most with the customers, or regardless if they're loyal or non-loyal, and see, if they can recognize or if they're aware that these changes are attached to the store. Next thing you can do after that is go ahead and take the data received and incorporate the logo and name change. And then after that, you'll just make sure that your marketing messages educate existing and new customers of those changes. That item actually was done fairly well with the JCPenney marketing team, although they did lose some awareness. So if they had done the first three items recommended with the panel solution, then I believe that they could have done a better job with creating a logo that makes more sense and people are aware of their brand. And then after that, the very last thing is to do follow-up surveys to previous participants to get feedback on new rolled out changes. So here again is just a quick screenshot of what a panel discussion group could look like. And so basically they'll be on their computers, or they'll be on their mobile, and then you can analyze the data again. And you'll be interested to know that this is actually some real data actually got from eScore brand. And you can see that the awareness of the logo changes went from 84% to 76%, and when they went to JCP, it went to 56%. So I believe that if we could have gone back, and JCPenney did do some logo and um, name changes, and they stayed with their customer, that last one could have been different, and perhaps the logo could be different as well. The fourth strategy here again was to add hot brands geared towards more fashion-forward consumers. So above, you can see that they're bringing Betsyville, Vivian Tam, Watch Gear, Martha Home, Pearl by Virginia Chapman, Dream Pop, Sephora, and William Rast. These all are really fun items. I think, for someone like me, I don't really shop at JCPenney's, but I do like Sephora, and I like Vivian Tam, so I would be interested in checking out these stores. And so we want to get some feedback about, whether or not these kinds of products are going to do well at the JCPenney store, what kind of pricing they would need, and what kind of shop is this going to look like when people walk into the stores. So what you can do here with the panel is to, again, survey the loyal and non-loyal customers on new brand names and the knowledge and awareness of these new brands, and whether or not they get excited about it when they hear that we're going to be bringing these new brands. So again, you can go back and run an online forum about the stores within stores of these new brands. So if you are interested in visiting, Martha Home inside JCPenney, what is that going to look and feel, and how satisfied are you going to be? And that's going to include, looking at concept images of concept stores, and really soliciting feedback before you actually implement this to all of the stores across the nation. The third thing was actually really important that was missed by the original strategy, is that we need to actually find out what existing brands that our loyal customers are passionate about, and then talk about better ways to lay out that customer shopping experience with these brands in mind. Um, a lot of items like St. John Bay, that got taken off the shelf for a little bit, and it really upset a lot of customers. And had they done some research and realized that people actually came to the store to shop for St. John Bay, then they may have thought about maybe doing a boutique shop or doing something to cater to those customers, instead of taking it out and now listening to the customers and bringing it back in. In the test stores, what we want to do is select panelists in the area to participate, again, in mobile ethnography or geofencing survey on new and existing brands found. And so again, we're going to be inviting people to walk into the stores and then gather feedback from them. And after you collect all the data, you want to do some follow-up surveys to previous participants to give feedback on new rolled out branded mini stores, and see, how are these things doing? Does it, do they fit well with the shopping experience that you were looking for? That is some things that, we should be asking after we've taken their feedback and made some changes to the strategy. So here's an example of someone going in and doing a mobile ethnography with the panel. So they can come in to the store and take some pictures. They can look around, and people are on their phones all the time. So this is not going to be too far-fetched for people. So again, what you want to do is select your targeted panelists near the newly remodeled stores, and then have them participate. Go ahead and have them run the mobile ethnography, and then turn on the life metrics data collection, so you can see again what kind of apps are running, what battery life that they're on, what kind of phones that they have. And then after that, you can go ahead and auto send surveys based on geolocation, collect real-time feedback, have them take pictures of their shopping experience, and let them know how they really feel at the time, instead of having to rely on recall after the fact they've went home and they don't remember exactly what happened when they're in the store. So the last one we're going to talk about here is the employee pay scale. Um, no more commissions. This was a huge problem for a lot of employees that have been loyal employees of JCPenney's. And instead of kind of icing them out and not telling them, what I think should have happened was that they had created a panel of employees who want to participate, and these are people who receive commissions for sales, to get feedback on any pay changes. And also from there, select a few employee panelists for online forum to discuss alternatives to commission. So if they are going to get rid of commissions, what is going to be in place instead? Instead of the fact that we're going to give them great customer service regardless of commissions or not, what is going to drive these people to want to give the very best? So we need to ask these people, and really value your employee feedback so we can keep quality people in our stores. Third thing here is to send out surveys to those open to changes in the pay structure to get any feedback that they can offer so they can boost employee morale. And then also in the test stores, you can select panelists in the area to participate in mobile field studies on customer interaction with new pricing model. This is a little bit different, doesn't have anything to do with the commissions. However, what it can do is, if there was any changes in the pricing and customers were happy or not happy about it, we can have these employees who are in the forefront giving us some feedback immediately on those changes. So as a result, we can also see whether or not, commissions could play a difference, or they can change the way the new pricing structure could be. So that's something to consider at that time. The last thing to do is to go ahead and follow up on surveys to previous participants to give new feedback on new rolled out pay structure and see, how employees are reacting to this. Are they happy with it, with this, or they're upset about it? And again, we're taking into effect, what are the alternatives to commission that's going to keep good employees happy and keep them incentivized to do a good job and offer excellent customer service. So here's an example of doing a field research tour conducted by store employees. They'll basically have like an iPad kiosk set up at all the registers. This is actually pretty popular right now, actually, is in some of the test stores at JCPenney. And anytime, there's a reaction to pricing occurring, then the employee can go to the kiosk and have employees document that. This is also a great opportunity to get your store employees to help recruit people into the panel, so they can encourage people to fill out a survey, or have them, go in and be a part of the panel to receive an instant discount on their purchases. And then after that, you can go ahead and target employees and new customers for further feedback on pricing and also the experience. So what is the value of the JCPenney strategy with the panel? We believe strongly here that listening to customers and employees could have prevented a $4.3 billion in loss. So instead of aggressively not listening, we are listening this time. And so as a result, we're not going to be losing out, and those core customers are still going to be here. And then we're also listening to new customers who can drive those people into the store as well. The stock value could have remained steady. That, is just it's just an estimate of what could have happened. And also the other thing is that it's possible that with listening to our customers, and making changes based off of the feedback, although it is a little bit slower, the results could have been really nice to see. And as a result, the board's approval of the strategy based on feedback could have increased the CEO's performance-based pay. So instead of docking him 97%, he could have gotten the whole 100% pay that he was expecting. So looking at the business benefit, productivity, and effectiveness of adding a panel to the strategy, you can see that, your opt-in value and costs have been achieved. So one thing we wanted to talk to you here is about how to get started with your panel. And I know that sometimes it's hard to get started because you're not really sure where to go and where to get these people. And here at Survey Analytics, we're here to help you. We're going to do a giveaway in the summer of 2013.